The purpose of this resource is to provide guidance for utilizing scaffolds that are embedded in your EL Education District curriculum. Scaffolding is an instructional method that progressively moves students toward greater independence and understanding during the learning process. It is a temporary support that acknowledges what students already know, the barriers they will face in achieving new learning goals, and the instructional support that will benefit them in negotiating those barriers. Throughout this learning opportunity, we'll focus on examples of scaffolds that already exist within EL Education lessons using Lesson 8 from Grade 3, Module 1, Unit 1. An EL Education Scaffold Overview document for elementary ELA grades 2 through 5 can be found in Learning Central under the appendix within each grade level module and in the teacher planning tools for your grade level curriculum. Please refer to this document for additional supports as you plan. The lesson components listed on the slide are where you can locate embedded scaffolds within lessons and will be highlighted throughout this presentation. Within the teaching notes section, you will see context of what is coming down the road. It is advised that you plan lessons 8, 9, and 10 together, expanding as necessary to best put structural scaffolds in place. You will want to determine student triads or appropriate partnerships in advance. You will need at least one skilled reader to offer peer support to those who may struggle with decoding the text. If you have students who are struggling far below their peers at this point in the unit, you may want to determine a small group that will work with you so that you can offer more direct support. Each lesson provides a section of supports for English language learners, but these strategies may be helpful to all students regardless of language proficiency. Language dives will be more thoroughly introduced in Unit 3 and will become a regular routine throughout the EL curriculum for all students. This lesson offers an optional language dive to introduce the concept, but it is recommended to take the time to introduce this process to all students to help with word and sentence level comprehension. In the language dive, instruction will focus on just one complex sentence from the text. You will introduce unfamiliar vocabulary and then chunk the sentence into sections to more closely analyze each section, encouraging students to look at not only word level meaning, but focusing on how the words work together to create meaning. Throughout the language dive, be sure to give students think time to process answers and use illustrations as well as total physical response techniques to support comprehension. The focus of this lesson is to support students' comprehension, though the story of this text is significantly more complex than the texts already introduced in this unit. As you read aloud, model skills through think aloud, such as how to pause and check for understanding and making inferences. Give students time to think, pair, share throughout reading, or have students act out particular scenes. During multiple readings of the text, have students join you in a choral reading of all or parts of the text. The unit overview also has scaffolds and teacher information that is useful for planning. When planning a unit, the overview offers suggestions on which lessons to prioritize when making schedule considerations. The EL curriculum identifies this as for English language learners, but this is helpful for all teachers and students in any classroom. Some of the best scaffolds you can use for these lessons are the strategic structuring of triads and groups, or restructuring of lesson time to meet in groups or as a class. Plan what you will use as formative assessment to help you adapt to the structure of the lessons to provide needed scaffolding. For example, student triads will work together to complete the reading for just note catcher and to determine the message, lesson, or moral. As this text is far more complex than those read so far this unit, students may need more time than what is suggested by the EL materials. Many students struggle with identifying the main character or with determining the wanted of the story. It is suggested to bring the class together after a work session just focused on the gist to go over and correct any misunderstandings before discussing the message, lesson, moral, providing the teacher with formative assessment opportunity. Alternatively, consider chunking the text into smaller sections and directing triads to complete one section of the gist at a time, helping students to focus on particular pages. Many groups will struggle with identifying the message, lesson, moral the first time. Consider collecting the note catchers to review student work before Lesson 9 so as to adjust small groups based on student needs. Alternatively, consider restructuring your all block activities for the day so that you can meet with small groups to have deeper discussion time about the message, lesson, or moral. Scaffolding is an instructional method that progressively moves students toward greater independence and understanding during the learning process. Refer to the EL Education Scaffold Overview for grades 2 through 5 for additional resources that may provide further support when planning for and implementing instruction. As a reminder, additional resources and professional learning videos can be found in Learning Central under the appendix within each grade level module and in the teacher planning tools for your grade level curriculum. If you need more assistance with differentiating scaffolding lessons, you may wish to reach out to the experts in your building, ESL teacher, special education specialists, intervention team facilitator, or contact the central office coordinating teachers assigned to your school for support.